The loud thud jolted me from my afternoon nap. At 7 months pregnant, I had just managed to get comfortable on the couch when something heavy crashed to the floor upstairs. I struggled to sit up, one hand steadying my rounded belly, while the sounds of movement and voices filtered down. "Be careful with that. That's real hardwood, not that cheap laminate." My sister-in-law Brianna's high-pitched voice rang out. I heard David respond, his voice muffled but compliant, like always, when it came to his sister. By the time I reached the staircase, gripping the banister for balance, they were already on their way down, carrying my grandmother's old rocking chair. The very chair I'd spent weeks restoring for the baby's room. "What are you doing?" I asked, planting myself at the bottom of the stairs to block their path. Brianna barely looked at me. Her face, perfectly made up, practically glowed with that smug pregnancy radiance. She was only 4 months along, but with her slim figure and designer maternity dress, she looked like she was hiding a melon under her shirt, not carrying twins. "Oh, perfect, you're up," she said cheerily, as if this had been discussed beforehand. "I'm taking the nursery," she said it so casually. "Well, it's mine now. You can move into the guest room." I blinked, stunned. "Come again." David, already flushed from carrying his side of the chair, set it down and shrugged. "It just makes more sense, Isla. It's a bigger room." I clung tighter to the banister. "I'm due in 8 weeks. That room is finished. It's ready." "Why would we?" "Because," Brianna cut in, resting a manicured hand on her barely there bump, "I'm having twins. 2 babies need more space than 1. It's just common sense." She said it in the same matter-of-fact tone she used when announcing she and Marcus would be moving in, for a short time, after he lost his job. That had been 6 months ago, before the pregnancy, before she started redecorating my house like it was an open-floor concept on HGTV. "Besides," she added, already turning back toward the stairs, "the guest room is closer to your bedroom. Trust me, you'll be grateful for that during midnight feedings." I followed, heart pounding, until we reached the nursery doorway. The room I'd carefully put together over the past several months was in chaos. The crib had been shoved aside. Boxes were everywhere. Marcus was peeling off the custom wall decals I'd applied just a week earlier. "Stop," I said. My voice cracked, barely above a whisper. "Please, just stop." "Don't be dramatic," Brianna replied, not bothering to turn around. "We'll help you get the guest room ready. It'll be cozy." "Cozy?" That room barely fit a bed and had one tiny window facing a fence. The nursery, my nursery, was open and bright, with double windows that overlooked the garden and built-in bookshelves my grandfather had crafted when my mom was born. I turned to David, my eyes pleading. "Tell her this is insane." He shifted, clearly uncomfortable, avoiding my gaze. "It's just a room, Isla. The baby won't know the difference." "But I will." My voice sharpened. "I've been designing that nursery since before we even got pregnant. Every piece, every color, every—" "Oh my God, you are so selfish," Brianna snapped, finally turning to look at me. "I'm carrying 2 babies. You think this is easy for me? Marcus is still job hunting. We're stuck in your house like squatters. And you won't even give up a room." "My house." The words echoed in my mind. It really was, wasn't it? "My house," I repeated slowly, trying out the phrase. "What?" Brianna scoffed. "You're going to hold that over us now? Classy, Isla. Really classy." I turned to David, waiting for him to say something, anything, to clarify. But he just stood there, holding a box filled with neatly folded baby clothes I had washed myself, looking like he wanted to disappear. "I need some air," I said and turned to leave. "Drama queen," I heard Brianna mutter as I walked away. Outside on the porch, my hands trembled as I dialed Marissa, my best friend. She answered almost immediately. "How's my favorite pregnant mama?" she chirped. "They're taking the nursery," I blurted out. "Brianna says she needs it for the twins. And David's just letting it happen." "What? No. What did he say?" "That it's just a room." I let out a dry laugh. 8 years of marriage, and he says it's just a room. "Isla." Marissa's voice softened. "Have you told them yet?" "No. I meant to." But then Brianna got pregnant, and David was so happy about being an uncle. The timing never felt right. The timing is now, she said firmly.
Go. Tell them.
When I walked back inside, they were in the living room rearranging furniture. Brianna scrolled on her phone while directing the action. We should turn the dining room into a playroom, she said casually. Once both babies are here, we'll need the space.
And maybe knock out the wall between the kitchen and… No.
The word burst out louder than I expected, freezing everyone mid-motion.
No, I repeated.
Brianna arched a sculpted brow. Be reasonable, Isla. We all live here now.
We need to make this space work.
You don't live here, I said quietly. You're guests.
Guests who've overstayed.
Isla, David started, his face coloring.
That's my sister. And I'm your wife, I cut in.
Your pregnant wife who's bent over backward to accommodate everyone.
But this? This ends now.
Brianna stood, hand fluttering to her chest. I cannot believe you're being so hateful while I'm in such a fragile state. Marcus, I need to lie down. The stress is bad for the twins. She made for the stairs, toward my nursery, and something inside me snapped. No one goes upstairs, I said, my voice calm but firm.
Not until we sort this out. Sort what out?
Marcus finally spoke, his tone dripping with irritation. David, get your wife under control.
I laughed.
Actually laughed. Oh, you'll love this, I said, walking over to the secretary desk Brianna had been eyeing for weeks, saying it would look better painted white. From a locked drawer, I pulled out a folder I'd kept safe for 8 years.
Let me tell you a little story, I began.
9 years ago, my grandmother passed away and left me this house.
Just me. Not my parents. Not my siblings. Me.
We know, David said, annoyed.
What's your point?
My point, I said, unfolding the deed, is that when we got married, you wanted to add your name to the title, said it would make things easier for taxes or insurance or whatever.
David had gone pale. But my grandmother's will was very specific.
If I added anyone to the deed, the house would go into a trust controlled by her estate lawyers.
So I didn't add you. I held up the document.
My name, alone, was printed clearly as the sole owner.
This house is mine. Only mine.
The room went silent, except for Brianna's sharp inhale. But, you're married, Marcus stammered, floundering.
Isn't that community property?
In this state, inherited assets are considered separate, I answered evenly. I've maintained the house using only funds from my own inheritance. All taxes were paid through my trust account.
No joint funds.
My attorney ensured it stayed that way.
You have a lawyer?
David asked, his voice tight, almost disbelieving.
Of course I do, I said.
When you're managing a $3 million trust and a house worth nearly 2 more, you make sure you're protected. Brianna collapsed onto the couch, stunned.
5 million?
But, you drive a Honda.
Because I'm not reckless, I replied.
I live within my means, invest smartly, and I don't let people take advantage of me, at least not anymore.
David's voice cracked with desperation. But I'm your husband. We're having a baby together. You can't just… Can't what? I cut in. Can't expect you to back me up?
Can't ask your sister to respect boundaries in our home? Can't keep the nursery I've spent months preparing for our child?
You're right.
I can't do any of those things with you. Which is exactly why all of you need to leave.
Leave?
Brianna shrieked, eyes wide with outrage.
I'm pregnant. So am I said flatly. Further along than you, actually.
And yet somehow I haven't tried to claim someone else's home as my own.
I turned to David. You've got 30 days. All of you.
David's face twisted.
You're kicking me out? Your husband? The father of your child?
I'm asking the man who stood by silently while his sister tried to hijack our child's nursery to pack his bags, I said. The same man who reduced it all to just a room, knowing what it meant to me. The man who forgot that this house, this life, is mine. This is just the hormones talking, Marcus muttered dismissively.
David, don't take her seriously.
I pulled out my phone and looked Marcus directly in the eye. Would you prefer I call my attorney now, or would you rather leave on your own?
You'd kick a pregnant woman out onto the street? Brianna wailed.
You've lived here for 6 months, I replied calmly. In that time, Neither of you has contributed a single cent toward groceries, bills, or upkeep. You've treated my house like a free Airbnb. So yes, I'm telling you to leave. Find a place with that big nursery you need so badly." Brianna turned, mascara streaming, and faced David.
"Say something. Help us." But David wasn't looking at her.
He was staring at me, like he didn't know who I was anymore. "You've had that much money all this time?" he asked quietly. "And I've been losing sleep over finances, working overtime, worrying about our future?" "You've been stressed about money because half your paycheck goes straight to your sister," I replied.
"I've never asked you for help.
"I cover all the bills, buy all the food, fix everything that breaks.
All I ever wanted from you was support. And you couldn't even manage that."
"This is insane," Marcus muttered, grabbing Brianna's hand.
"Come on.
"We don't need to stay in this toxic place." "The nursery furniture stays," I said, pointing toward the stairs.
"Every single item. It belongs to my baby."
David's voice was barely above a whisper.
"Your baby? Not our baby." I looked him in the eyes.
Really looked at him. The man I'd married 8 years ago, the man who'd sworn to love and protect me, the man who let his sister take over our home without so much as a word in my defense.
"That depends," I said quietly. "You can be a father without being a husband.
But you can't be my husband while letting your family walk all over me."
"Choose," Brianna demanded dramatically from the doorway. "Her or your family."
"That's just it," I said before David could respond.
"It shouldn't even be a choice.
I am his family, or at least I should be.
But clearly, I'm not."
The rest of the evening passed in a blur, slammed doors, angry shouting, frantic packing. Brianna and Marcus were gone by nightfall, her parting shot about me being a bitter, selfish witch echoing behind them. David stood in the foyer holding a duffel bag, eyes lost. "Where am I supposed to go?" he asked. "Your sister has raved about her incredible support network," I said calmly.
"I'm sure someone will take you in." "Isla, please. We can fix this. We could have fixed this."
"We could have," I agreed.
"If you had stood by me, just once. If you'd told her no.
If you'd remembered I'm not your roommate, I'm your wife." "And this isn't about the money?" he asked softly.
"It's not," I said. "It's about respect."
Brianna respected this house more when she thought it was yours. The second she learned it was mine, she felt entitled to take whatever she wanted.
"And you let her."
David left without another word. That night, I stayed up putting the nursery back together, item by item.
The mobile above the crib.
The tiny onesies in the dresser drawers. The rocking chair beside the window. Each piece restored felt like reclaiming my identity. At midnight, Marissa showed up with ice cream and a box of tissues. "How are you holding up?" she asked as she pulled me into a gentle hug. "I'm 7 months pregnant and just kicked my husband out," I said, half laughing through tears.
"So fantastic. You did the right thing," she said without hesitation. "They were treating you like a doormat." "I know," I said softly. "I just wanted him to choose me. Just once." "He still might," she said gently.
"Some people need a wake-up call to see what they've lost." But as I sat in my grandmother's rocking chair, holding on to the nursery I fought to protect, I realized something powerful.
I didn't need him to choose me, because I had already chosen myself. And I had chosen my child.
2 weeks later, I filed for divorce. David tried to claim a stake in the house, but the prenuptial agreement I had smartly insisted on stood strong. He received joint custody with standard visitation, nothing more. Brianna gave birth to her twins 3 months after I had my daughter. She sent me a snide birth announcement filled with subtle jabs about how hard it was without family support. I mailed her a polite card that said congratulations.
Nothing else.
David now sees our daughter Emma every other weekend. He's become a good father, far better than he ever was as a husband. Sometimes when he comes by, he takes a long look around the house, noticing the changes, the quiet piece of a life he no longer belongs to. "I was an idiot," he said once, watching Emma wobble around the very nursery his sister tried to claim.
"Yes," I replied. "You were. Do you think we could ever?" "No," I said softly but with finality. "Some things can't be undone."
"You made your choice when you stood there and let her take the nursery."
"I can't unsee that."
He nodded, accepting the truth. As for me, every night I sit in the nursery, rocking Emma to sleep in the same chair my grandmother once rocked my mother in. The room is peaceful now. The entire house is. There's no shouting. No criticism. No uninvited plans being made without me. Sometimes, family isn't about blood or legal ties. Sometimes, family is who shows up for you when it matters most. And sometimes, the only person who does that is yourself.
And that's more than enough.
It's everything.